Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So, Jai Opetaia knocks out David Nyika in the 4th round in what was a really good fight. Of course, David Nyika came into this fight as a relatively late opponent, came in a few weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago. Opetaia was supposed to fight his German mandatory, a guy called Sin Cara. Sin Cara pulled out injured, and in stepped David Nyika as the replacement. And I said at the time when it got announced, I felt this was a better fight than the original. And while it didn't turn out the way I expected it to, I expected David Nyika to come in and try to utilize his height and reach. He was the much taller guy here, 6'6", longer reach as well. But instead of using his height and reach, David Nyika basically tried to use his strength instead. And what I mean is he basically tried to pressure Jai Opetaia. And you saw that in round 1, immediately he came out and tried to swing a big overhand, missed it, and they fell into a clinch. But that really kind of set the tone for how David Nyika was going about his business. First round was really entertaining. Nyika came forwards, again negating his height and reach, tried to collapse the pocket on Opetaia. Tried to land some body shots, which he was doing, but Opetaia would come back with the harder punches. The right hook out of the southpaw stance was landing to both body and head for Opetaia. In fact, throughout this fight, Opetaia did some good body work, though I will say a lot of his body shots were straying low also, which the referee only really picked up on once. But yeah, round 1, man, Nyika just tried to bum rush Opetaia. Again, landed some clubbing shots, but Opetaia was, for me, the guy who was landing the more eye-catching punches, the harder punches, and when he put his shots together, it was just so much more eye-catching, But Nyika came out round 1 with a lot of aggression, scored some good shots, but for me, Opetaia won the first round. Round 2 was really interesting. Opetaia was starting to change levels with his right hand. Right hooks to the body, right hooks to the head. Sometimes he'd alternate, he'd go right hook to the body, and then follow through with a straight left hand to the head, changing levels with the attacks. The right hook to the body was very effective in setting up Opetaia's straight left hand. There was a couple of times in round 2 where I felt Nyika looked hurt, but Nyika, to his credit, would come back and fire. Also he was switching stances, and David Nyika, he was trying to match the southpaw in Opetaia. At times from the southpaw stance, he would catch Opetaia with some good sort of long check right hooks, come jabs, that would catch Opetaia unawares. But Opetaia was, again, winning the second round. And, he was really kind of putting the pressure on, was putting his shots together. But towards the end of round 2, Nyika responded with a 1-2-3 combination that stumbled the legs of Jai Opetaia, momentarily. The legs were stumbled, the legs wobbled. Opetaia went in for a clinch momentarily. The clinch was broken pretty much immediately. Opetaia got his game face on and was ready to resume his attack, but the round then ends. Good poker face there by Opetaia, responded well to being buzzed. After round 2 though, I already got the sense that Opetaia was starting to get on top at the start of round 3. It looked like Nyika was starting to tire. He'd put a lot in already at this stage. He's a big dude coming down to cruiserweight on a late notice fight. Not really sure how much he had in the gas tank. And maybe that's the reason he fought the way he did. When you look at it, you ask yourself, why didn't this guy make the most of his height and reach? Maybe he felt he didn't have the gas tank to go 12, so he thought he'd risk it. That's kind of what it looked like to me. But anyway, round 3, start of round 3, Opetaia got back on top. I felt that Nyika was starting to push his punches a little bit, and he wasn't throwing as much in combination, throwing more single shots. Again, having said that, at times Nyika would catch Opetaia coming in, particularly with the check hooks. There was one shot in particular in round 3 that, again, really caught Opetaia's attention. But Opetaia, for me, was, again, working the body well. Again, some were straying low. He was coming up top with the overhand right. Also started to mix the uppercut into the equation as well, going through the gears almost, putting some more combinations together. The difference in hand speed became apparent, the difference in fitness became apparent, and the differential in power was becoming apparent as well. Again, Nyika had some good moments in the third round, but not enough to win the round. So yeah, and round 4 starts. Round 4 was where this fight ended. Again, Nyika comes out, starting to feel the pace, in my opinion, gives Opetaia less to worry about coming forwards. And I think Opetaia senses at this point in time that Nyika is flagging. And Opetaia ups the pace in round 4, lands some good power shots, and first knockdown was very well set up. Opetaia lands a straight left hand, which is followed through with a right uppercut, and it drops David Nyika heavily. I think Nyika makes a mistake here. He gets dropped and he gets up right away. I think he should have taken a few seconds on the canvas to try to gather his thoughts, but he gets up straight away. I think that's the inexperience showing. He beats the count straight away, but he looks on unsteady legs. In fact, maybe even some referees would have stopped that. But referee allows Nyika to continue. Opetaia smells blood. He jumps right on David Nyika, lands a series of wide punches, and it culminates in a right-left combination that is then finished with a brutal left uppercut. Nyika's already hurt. The uppercut sends him down, and David Nyika is out cold for several minutes, face planted on the ground. Brutal knockout. Already a knockout of the year contender, and we're only 8 days into the new year. Brutal knockout by Jai Opetaia in an excellent fight. I think David Nyika had the wrong tactics. I think he should have tried to make use of his height and reach, but maybe he wasn't convinced that he had the gas tank to do that. I don't know. It looked like he went in there and just rolled the dice, basically, and he came up short. He gave Opetaia too many openings. He couldn't really evade the right hook of Opetaia, and yeah, he was chopped down eventually. But good fight, man, for what it was, man. Good fight for a last-minute replacement. Very good fight. Opetaia got hit a bit in this one. He got hurt. So, Opetaia can be got at. He can be got at, but again, he's got that mean streak that very few fighters, in my opinion, at world level have these days. When he has you hurt, he will go to take your head off. And I was impressed with how he responded to getting buzzed. He momentarily held, and right away he was fine. Poker face, ready to go again. So, yeah, some defensive flaws, I guess. But ultimately, he dominated this fight for the most part and got a brutal knockout. So there we go. Good start to the year for Jai Opetaia in a good fight. As for David Nyika, like I said going in, I felt he had physical talent, enough talent to give Opetaia trouble. And he did give Opetaia trouble, but not in the way I was expecting. I expected him to give Opetaia trouble, in the sense of using his height and reach, making it a little awkward. But the fight didn't turn out the way I expected, to be honest with you. Can David Nyika come back? I said going into this fight, I felt Nyika would enhance his reputation even in a loss. That was my basic prediction. And although he may have done that, can he rebound from such a brutal knockout? We shall see. We shall see. Anyway, share your thoughts below. Beanie Guy Delboy. Peace.